Hi, if you're like me who likes to snack on crackers with your tea or coffee and looking for healthy alternative, these beet crackers that we're going to make today, it's wholesome and healthy and very tasty, and it's a good option compared to a store-bought. It's gluten-free, egg-free, and it's completely healthy. So give it a try. Let me know how you like the recipe, and let's get cooking. Recipe is very simple with few ingredients. Here we have flax egg, which I have prepared using about tablespoon and a half of flaxseed powder. Add it to like 4 tablespoons of water and then let it sit for about 10 minutes until it becomes a jelly like what you see in there. Then I have beet puree, which I have cooked beets in instant pot for about 17-18 minutes and then blend it, and it should be fine puree as you can see, because if you have chunks in them then your crackers not going to be smooth. It's going to be hard to roll it, so make sure your puree is very smooth and it has a very smooth texture. Taken about a tablespoon of olive oil, but you can take any oil, is fine with the recipe. I just chose olive oil because it's a little healthier. Just mix all of them together very nicely. Adding millet flour, so this is sorghum, or Jowar flour, 3/4 cup, and then here is the almond flour. And here is the salt. And because of the Jowar flour or the sorghum flour and almond flour, the recipe is gluten-free. I'm also adding some cumin seeds. Now if you don't like cumin seeds, you can totally leave it out. I just feel like it just adds that depth of flavor that I normally like in my savory cracker. So I just add it, but it's totally optional. Just mix them all together. Now if your mixture is a little dry, just like what mine is looking like, then you can add tablespoon of water, but don't add a lot, because depending on how thin your puree is or your flaxseed slurry is, that will definitely affect your dough consistency. So here we want to make not too firm but not too soft dough, something that you can roll it out. Now again, this dough is going to be sticky because we have a veggie puree, and it's not going to be too firm, but it should not be too soft also that you cannot mix it with hand, just the way I am doing it here. Suppose if it does get too soft, then you can just add a little bit of flour, mix up both flour so it's easy to handle. Now this dough is sticky, so you have to roll it between the 2 parchment paper, just like the way I'm doing it here. So I have a parchment paper on the bottom, and I'm just shaping it just so that it's easier to roll. I'm gonna attempt to make a square or rectangle, but we'll see how that turns out. And then I'm putting another parchment paper over it so that it's easier to roll, otherwise it's gonna stick on my roller. Just keep rolling. Once in a while, just remove the paper to make sure that it's not sticking onto the paper. And then you want to make sure that it's even we want to make it a thin sheet, so you might have to do this couple times where you have to flip the paper and check the consistency of the roll dough. Just like here, it's too thick right now, so we're gonna keep rolling it. And the edges, I found that gets a little more thicker than the inside, so you just make sure that the edges are also flattened, and basically you have the even layer of the entire sheet. I think that looks okay. Almost there. We're almost there. Look at this pretty pink color, right? Isn't it pretty? Now we're going to sprinkle some sesame seeds. How pretty it looks. I have a lot of sesame seeds because I like them, but you can add as little or as much as you like, or you can also add chia seeds or pumpkin seeds, any seeds you like here. So after that, we're gonna roll it again to make sure that the seeds are secure there on the dough. To make a cut, I'm gonna make rectangle crackers. So I'm just making some lines. We're not gonna separate them because the dough is very sticky and very fragile, so we'll just make the cut right now and then bake the entire dough sheet just like that on the pan. And then after it has baked for the first few minutes, and we're gonna go over that in a little bit, it comes out of the oven, and when it's warm, that's when we're gonna make cut again along the same lines, and then we will cut it and bake it twice. So these crackers are actually baked twice to give that a crunchy taste. You see, it's very hard to separate, and that's why I'm just gonna move the entire paper to the pan, and then it will go in the oven for 350 Fahrenheit for about 20 minutes. This was baked for 20 minutes. It's still soft. And now you can see the initial cut that we have made. Because it was baking, it's kind of hard to separate, so we're just gonna cut along those lines again. And it's easier to cut now because we already pre-cut them. Be easy to separate it too. And now you can separate them out. And make sure to leave some space between them because you're going to bake them again. And we want to make sure that we get even heat so they get crispier. Now they are well separated. Putting putting them back in the oven, but now at 325. So just lower your oven temperature and bake them for about 10 minutes or so. And as they cool down, they're going to be crispier. So right out of the oven. So you might find that they are a little softer, but just let it cool. And if you think that you still need it a little crispier after it has cooled down for 10-15 minutes on the counter, on the tray, you just pop them back in the oven for another 5 to 10 minutes. But make sure, because they're gonna get really, really crispy and hard very fast. So just keep an eye on it. So I popped them back in the oven for another 3-4 minutes and let it cool completely. You can just remove it and it's ready to serve with your tea, coffee, or you can even put some almond butter and enjoy it.